What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Stack. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And on The Stack, we talk about a bunch of books that came out this weekend. Also, we're going to do one of your requests. We've been asking all of you to drop a rating over on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, and then in the comments section... 5 stars. In the comment section, request something, an old book, a graphic novel, something that we haven't reviewed in a while or maybe missed. And in this case, Jollyman444 asked us to cover Batman Universe by Brian Michael Bendis and Nick Darrington. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show, but let's kick it off with the new stuff first, starting with Do a Powerbomb.
Do a Powerbomb!
Number one from Image Comics by Daniel Warren Johnson. I'll tell you what, I'm going to say this up front here. We love Daniel Warren Johnson on the show totally because of Pete. I think
he brought him into our fold.
Yes, he brought him into our fold. But usually when I'm arranging the stack, when I'm arranging the books of the stack, I'm like, okay, we'll hit a big event DC book or Marvel book, and then if it was a big DC book, we'll put a Marvel book after that, and if it's a Marvel book, we put a DC book, etc. You get the idea. Yeah. So usually like an Image or a Boom or whatever will end up third just by the nature of that sort of thing. And when I was putting it together, I initially had Do a Powerbomb pretty high up anyway because I knew Pete would to talk about it. And as soon as I read it, I was like, no, this has to go first. That's how we're going to talk about this right away. This is how good this book is. Because this is another, to use a cross sports metaphor, slam dunk by Daniel Warren Johnson.
All right. Well,
just real quick, before we dive into it, Alex, you don't have to preload sports metaphor when you say the term slam dunk. We as people.
No, I'm just saying we're talking about a wrestling book. I should do some sort of wrestling metaphor, but I can't think of it. This is a total TKO? What do you say?
Oh, my God.
That's not right either.
This is a real half Nelson of a book.
Oh, my God.
You mean the Ryan Gosling movie?
Yep. Yeah. This is a real La La Land.
Oh, my God. All right.
Pete?
Let's fucking get into this. All right. First off, I was super nervous about this because... I liked wrestling back in the day, you know what I mean? But I'm not watching it a ton anymore. I mean, my interest kind of peaks and valleys in it. Every once in a while I'll watch it, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge wrestling fan. So I was a little worried that maybe I won't like this book because of the subject matter or whatever. But holy shit, is this great. I mean, just emotional, so many twists and turns. The art is unfucking believable. It draws you in right from the start and never lets go of you.
If I didn't know better, I would think that Daniel Warren Johnson is some sort of wish you made. Some sort of a dream you're having, because this guy writes books for you. This is so over the plate. It's super emotional. It's super upsetting. Mm-hmm. And his art is has this, it's a very comic booky style that he does, but it adds this, that's not a slam. I like comic books. I have 17 years of backlog on this podcast to prove it. But I think it has a real, a gritty realism to it that I feel draws you in deeper, despite the fact that it's not hyper realistic art to begin with.
Yeah. This is... So I know we're kind of bouncing around what the concept is, and part of it is I don't even want to spoil the concept because that's part of the journey you go on in the first issue. But it starts off with this wrestler in a match. She has a daughter that she is dedicating her match to. I think we can say that things start to go a little wrong there, but and then there are, we're saying, many twists and turns there. But maybe this isn't exact, but this book struck me as what if Pixar did an Adult Swim show is kind of what it's like, because it just hits you. Well, because it just hits you with that hits you right in the gut with emotion right at the beginning, but there's just wild visuals throughout, and it's great. It's so good.
The angles and the panel designs for the action is just so beautiful. I mean, with live wrestling, you can't get some of the perspectives and some of the angles on some of the moves like this, and it's clearly done through a fan's eyes, and there's a ton of love for the sport in this book. It is just one of those, I don't care what you're doing, stop and get this book because it is gonna be unbelievable.
Pete, a bunch of doctors are in the middle of surgery
I
right
don't
now. Just be careful. Be careful with what you're requesting.
I want to talk more about this, but again, I don't want to spoil the experience for anybody.
And then go to the comic book store. It'll be fine.
The thing that I will very vaguely say, though, is in a very different way. I know we talk a lot on this show about the jump scare that happens early on in Lock and Key that Gabriel Rodriguez did so brilliantly. That is so hard to do in comics because to pace it out properly for a horror jump scare like that is very hard. There's a moment that is not a horror jump scare, but in this book where it's the same sort of thing where the way it's paced out, it hits you so suddenly what's happening and so viscerally that is incredibly hard to do, if not impossible to do in a comic book, but it works brilliantly here. By the end of the book, though, I was like cackling with glee when he finally reveals what the concept.
Dude, I was so fired
You're a
up.
cackler.
After I read that last panel, I was so fired up. I had to walk away from my desk a little bit. Like I was just like, I need a moment, man. It is, it gets you, man.
Did you go get a snack, like a little snack on that moment?
Maybe, sure. I don't remember. I was kind of blacked out.
Or check your kitchen, Pete. There's gonna be wrappers everywhere, Pete.
Snack attack.
Wrappers, empty bottles. Oh my God. Anyway, in case you can't tell, this book is damn near perfect. Definitely pick it up. Next up, Hulkling and Wiccan #1 from Marvel, written by Josh Trujillo, art by Jodi Nishijima. Kicking off, or continuing, I guess, Marvel's Pride coverage. That's the wrong word.
I don't know if that's quite the. It is in a way.
What's up, everybody? This is Joe Marvel, and I'm here covering Pride. First up, Hulkling.
Let's look at this
Wiccan.
next book. This next book that's driving past us right now is beautiful. Really lovely art that really matches the characters. I'm loving it. Let's talk it down, toss it to Mary Hart, who's down on the ground.
I don't know what's going on. Is this comic books we're announcing, all right? Well, anyway, Hulkling vs. Wiccan is one of my favorite couples in comics. They're very delightful, very sweet to each other. They are now in space as Hulkling is the emperor of the Kree Shi'ar joined empires, I believe, and Wiccan is king, queen, husband. I don't know what the exact title is.
I think he's like the first man. Consort?
Yeah, there you go. Consort, sure. But as it is in this issue, they're super happy. They have a great dinner with all the other gay characters of the Marvel Universe.
Which, on its surface, I'm like, wait a second. But actually, it's really nice.
Here's the thing. That specific thing, because he invites North Star and his husband. They invite North Star and his husband as well as Iceman, and they're all having dinner together and talking. It struck me how far we have come with this, because I always think back to, and we've talked about a million times, when North Star came out in comics and he's in the middle of fighting. He's like, I am a gay man with AIDS. And I even at the time, I was like, oh my God.
Like,
please,
that doesn't seem right. Yeah, like what you were like 12 then?
Sheldon,
you were like, whoa, dude.
100%. So the fact that now we can have those characters come and interact with each other, and it actually feels natural and is cute and fun. And this whole comic book is about Hulkling and Wiccan ending up in a mystical what if scenario of what if they had ended up with other people and spoiler, maybe working their way back to each other, maybe not. I don't know. You'll have to read it.
Take it easy.
But I thought this was a really delightful, sweet special that I really enjoyed reading.
I agree, and I meant it seriously when I was at the beginning. I do think the art matches this book in such a nice way. It's very like sort of fairy tale-esque in a cool way.
It's got a She-Ra feel to it.
Yeah. And I also want to say something we talked about last week was the legacy of the Brian Michael Bendis bringing the young X-Men to the present, and how we'd all sort of forgotten it, oddly, because we were reviewing Champions. And I think the only real legacy from that is Iceman coming out, right? That came out of that run as because the way it worked was young Iceman was like, I think I'm gay, and older Iceman was like, oh, I feel weird of you saying that, basically. And then he had to reconcile his own choices in sexuality, like right there in the moment, which was sort of a wild plot choice or character choice. Yeah. But I think I love it as a sort of who Iceman is now.
Yeah. Pete, what did you think about this book?
Yeah, I thought, a lot of what you're saying is true. That's why I just didn't want to repeat it. But yeah, I mean, it's a great love story. The art really sets up this kind of magical world that they're in, this kind of power couple, but then kind of really deals with some interesting ideas and pushes them, and hopefully they pass this test and will continue to reign together. But yeah, just really a well done character piece and some really adorable stuff here. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of Marvel's Pride coverage. We've been watching it too much. You guys want to flip over to DC and what's going on with their coverage of Pride over the course of the month?
Sure. I don't know what you mean by this coverage stuff, but all right.
It's a weird thing I said it. I'm just following up on it. DC Pride, Tim Drake special #1 from DC Comics, written by Meghan Fitzmartin, art by Belén Ortega and Alberto Jimenez Alburquerque. This is, I believe, a collection of short stories that have already been published, both in Batman, Urban Legends, and other things, but it's following Tim Drake's own coming out story as bisexual, meeting a guy, introducing him to Stephanie Brown, going on some adventures at the same time. So you may have read this stuff before, but it's nice to see it all in order in one issue. And overall, this is a fun Tim Drake story. Justin, what did you think about this one?
I love the Tim Drake character. I feel like when he came out as bisexual, I only heard outrage. It felt like the story was everyone was mad about it, and then no one talked about it anymore. So I especially appreciate that they collected this and was like, hey, look, here's what's going on. Forget all that junk that everyone was talking about when it came out. So this was great, I thought.
Well, and just real quick before you say something, Pete, I also feel like the John Kent announcement overshadowed all of that.
Yes.
To the point where when I read this, I was like, oh, right. Also Tim Drake. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. But go ahead, Pete.
I was just going to do a stupid bit where I was like, no, I wasn't mad. I was mad at you.
Okay. Well, happy Pride, Pete. Happy Pride.
Yeah, thank you. No, I think that this is a really great story, some cool art. Bernard seems nice. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can have somebody you can fight shoulder to shoulder with. You know what I mean? Like, when the shit goes down, if you can kind of rumble with somebody and they got your back. I mean, what more do you want in life?
And there's some fun Stephanie Brown stuff at the end here as she meets Bernard and accepts him unequivocally.
Oh, that was adorable. Yeah, absolutely adorable. She couldn't keep it together. It was so great. I loved it.
Spoilers the best.
Yeah. Next up, Seven Sons, #1 from Image Comics, written by Robert Windom and Kelvin Mao, art by Jae Lee. This takes place in a world where there are 7 saviors who were born potentially to save the world. 6 of them seemingly have died, and one of them is going to, I guess, bring across some sort of rapture type situation is going to go on.
I will say this book was a little confusing in the same way that I find most religions a little confusing. So I was like, wait, what's he supposed to do? Is he the Holy Ghost? So I agree with you, Alex. I did think it was interesting. They made a point in this book to say 2-term President Jimmy Carter. Did anyone else think that was a little strange?
Yeah, well, Jimmy Carter was also there and looking pretty healthy. So clearly this is an alternate timeline than our timeline.
Agreed. It's just crazy to pin your timeline on Jimmy Carter, right? To be like, I got a sci-fi take for you. Jimmy Carter wins twice. That's what I was so weird to me.
Yeah. What is this? 7 peanuts?
Good.
Because he had a peanut farm.
Peanut farm, famously. He gave it up because he was divesting himself of his peanut.
Everybody brought that up in relation to one of the previous presidents. I don't remember which one, but the one that didn't divest anything.
Yeah.
Obama.
Okay.
Probably Obama. Thanks,
Obama. What just happened?
Jae Lee's art is always reliably great. I don't, to be honest, think this is his strongest work. It's a little more abstracted than some of his previous stuff, but I still thought, I always love looking at what he is doing. And this is very weird. It feels like it finally gets to the concept at the end here, so I'm curious to check out the second issue, but we'll see what happens with that. Next, I
wanted to jump in here and talk about this comic. This is creepy as fuck. Like really fucking creepy shit.
The art, you mean?
Yeah. Or the art, the style, the whole like floating eye with guns around it. Like this is some creepy fucking shit, man. Yeah, I couldn't get into this. I kept trying, and I was like, no, this freaks me out too much, man. I can't do this. So I walked away from this a couple of times, but I made it through. I don't know, man. If you're into like cults or like weird glazed over looking people, then maybe you'll like this. But this was creepy as fuck, man.
I love a glaze.
Yeah, you love a good glazed?
Yeah, on my donuts and my people. Pete, you've been
donuts all day. People know.
Interesting. You guys are standing up and walking away from your desk a lot this week, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
You gotta get your steps in.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
I am. I'm trying to keep that up.
Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, #1 from Marvel, written by Jackson Lanzing and Colin Kelly, art by Carmen Carnero. In this issue, Captain America is trying to live a normal life, just trying to be a regular dude, but he's Captain America, so he can't do that. And ultimately, he gets embroiled into a new mystery that may go all the way back to his origins by the end of this issue. This, to me, is very purposefully trying to... echo is probably the wrong word, but sort of call on Ed Brubaker's run on the title. It felt very reminiscent of that, but I would say favorably reminiscent because I really enjoyed this a lot. I thought this was a really good Captain America story with some good characterization, and it definitely does the whole retcon thing, but does it very well.
Yeah, I agree with that. This, it was definitely like one of those. I feel like there are a ton of Captain America books like this where it's like, we're going to reset. He's going to move into a new apartment and still feel out of time. This one is a little different, and he's taking a new drawing class, which I was like, Cap, okay.
Well, that ties into his history. I'm sure you guys remember this. Maybe all of our listeners don't, but there was a period of time where Captain America was a comic book artist working for Marvel Comics during the Captain America comics.
Yeah.
Which is fucking
smart
weird.
Choice.
That's crazy.
Write what you know.
Yes.
Draw what you know.
I guess.
Talk about a vanity hire.
I did really like these new characters. I thought we were going to go for this thing of like, oh, and then he becomes hero on the street and he's fighting alley crime or whatever, until like Hydra moves in or something like that. But clearly there's something much bigger going on here. And I like that part too.
I think this does a great job of setting up what's going to happen for him. I'm just a little nervous about it because it seems like it could be some fucked up shit. And I'm just kind of like, listen, man, like I just had Captain America, go through some shit that was a little rough. Like, let's not turn around and then put it through another meat grinder of emotions. So,
well, I don't think, this is going to get into spoilers here, but I don't think they're going to put Steve through the meat grinder emotions. It looks like they're putting Bucky through the meat grinder emotions here by the end.
And that guy's been through a lot too.
Oh man, sure has.
The Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, #3 from DC Comics, written by James Tynion IV, art by Lisandro, Estherren, and Francesco Francavilla. In this issue, our main character is escaping from two merciless nightmare killers who are after her, and she keeps running into people with mouth eyes who are eating things with their eyes and licking things from their eyes and stuff like this, and Pete loves it, right? Is that what I'm
Pete,
getting?
give us your take. Give us your Nightmare Country.
This
Walk
is
us
a
into your
fucking
experience.
nightmare inside of a nightmare while you're having a nightmare, and then you wake up and you realize it's still happening. This is so creepy. Those characters in that fire were dealing with so much fucked up shit. I just can't get over how scary and intense this is. Damn, just damn. And like, I love the little ad for teeth whitener there at the beginning. This is creepy AF, and I could read it, but man, it's really intense.
Really, this one was less scary than Jae Lee.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did you start to stand up and then sat back down again?
I kind of, I moved around in my seat a little bit. I had to readjust.
Okay. Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very physical comic book reader. Because I found this to be much more sort of
You guys remember when we would all read next to each other, you would get mad because I would yell and lose my shit.
Yeah. You got ants in your pants.
You get involved. You get emotional. It's a good place to be, Pete.
It's great to be emotional. Great to feel your emotions. First, I want to shout out the cover to this book, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Depending on which one you got, the one I'm talking about is the Corinthian feeding a piece of steak to his eye mouth, his upstairs mouth. Love it.
The old upstairs mouth.
The old upstairs mouth. That's what I call it. That's the thing, Pete. When you stopped all those surgeries to pick up this comic book earlier, I was like, I'm getting mouths put into my eyes later this week, and I just don't want that to happen when I'm doing that.
Pip, don't slip.
And I know what you're thinking. How would you get teeth that are small enough to fit your eye? And the answer is they're bat teeth. I'm putting bat teeth in my
Oh, I thought you were going to say
baby
teeth.
teeth. Yeah.
No, that's fucked up.
Maybe
You guys
like
are fucked up.
squirrel's teeth or something.
Squirrel's teeth. I'm going to collect squirrel teeth. I don't know how many teeth squirrels have.
One of my favorite things is when I'm walking through the park in the middle of the day and you look at a squirrel and the squirrel just smiles at you with a big toothy squirrel smile.
A little sparkle. Yeah. I what's crazy for me is my backyard, I have a squirrel dentist. So all the other squirrels are always coming by, getting their teeth worked out. It's horrible.
Yeah,
like too many sweet acorns.
That's nuts.
Oh,
get out of here.
Got a million of them.
Anyway, I also love this book. I think James Tynion is really he can't miss right now. So I love that he's been put on something that is so fun and using characters that I've loved for many years.
I'm just happy to see Pip. You know, it's been a long time, and it's nice to see.
This is Justin's dog, is what Pete's talking about.
Yeah,
still past... Pip doesn't slip. You know what I mean? Like it's still, you know.
Yeah, got to give a little context there. Undiscovered Country,
Never.
Speaking of context, Undiscovered Country, Destiny Man one-shot from Image Comics, written by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule, art by Giuseppe Camuncoli and Leonardo Marcello Grassi. This is a one-shot telling the origin of the Destiny Man, the big bad of Undiscovered Country. I have a question for both of you.
Oh, boy.
Did I miss an issue of Undiscovered Country, or does this take place somewhere else in the timeline of the book? And the reason I ask that is because we start with the Destiny Man unmasked. We see his face, and he's with one of the characters. And I feel like I missed an issue here.
I don't think so. I think at the end of the last arc, there was all the characters were very separated, and I think these two were put together.
All right, maybe I did forget that then. But we do jump back. We see his origin. We find out a lot more about the world of the book. Pete, what'd you think about this one? Just as creepy as Nightmare Country?
Well, no. I mean, I really love the art on this book. Some really cool character designs. It's, you know, interesting creepy, but not like scary creepy. It's very creative creepy. But I also felt like I would have loved this before the book started. Just because it would have kind of given us a little context to the world before we jumped in. But man, just yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made sense, but I still would have liked a little bit more.
I mean, this is very much one-to-one, but this reminded me quite a bit of Scott Snyder's Blacktop Bill special that came out with Ortega, where it was the same thing, doing a backstory of this big villain for the book, finding out a lot more about him. I really like this. I thought this was a good story that they told here. It's obviously important information you need to know for Undiscovered Country. It did drive home one thing that bugs me is probably too strong, but something that I feel like has been lacking a little bit in Undiscovered Country, that I understand why they made this choice here, but at the same time, it diminishes the stakes, which is that this global plague, pandemic, whatever it is, I think it's called Blue in the book, that is the whole reason they went back into America to begin with, which they reference here quite a bit. We don't get to see what it does to anybody. Like, we haven't seen it. The impression we've had of the outside world is the outside world is the outside world, and America is this crazy place where insane things are happening. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we need to, or at least I need to understand the weight of, like, what is this doing to people that it makes it so necessary to be going through America, which seems to be the worst place imaginable, you know?
That's true.
Well, I mean, we are getting clues to that, I think, in this book. Walking the Spiral, I think is what it's called here. Mm-hmm. And so I think this is just a first touchstone. Because what I like about this book, in the rest of the story so far, it's very much outsider characters looking in. And we're just seeing little bits and pieces, and we're left at the end of an issue to be like, okay, I think I've made sense of this, this, and this. Or in this area, all the creative people are, and that's why everything is like wild and insane all the time. So to be able to see from an inside character looking out or looking around anyway. I really appreciate that perspective in this story, and I'm looking forward to more of that, or more of our main characters sort of being inside America long enough to be able to make sense of it for themselves so that we can make sense of it a little bit easier.
Wow.
Wolverine number 22 from Marvel, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Adam Kubert. In this issue, Deadpool and Wolverine are teaming up to track down Danger, who's gone a little cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
And in the process, they have a big fight throughout Las Vegas. Wolverine keeps cutting Deadpool into smaller and smaller pieces over the course of the issue.
Hilarious.
Pete, how'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, I mean, as Deadpool says, they're such a fun, odd couple, those two. Just really fun madcap to see them bounce off of each other and Wolverine try to deal and keep slicing them up. So, I mean, it's fun. It's great art. It's kind of a crazy setup. Yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun with it. I think it's very enjoyable, really over the top and hilarious at moments too.
It's good to see Wolverine having a little fun. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like this character, another character we're going to talk about in a little bit, don't have as much fun, and I miss those times. I also thought it was, and pairing him with Deadpool, the escape from the prison cell by cutting Deadpool up, reminded me of a joke I heard when I was a kid. I think similar content as how to escape from prison. I also thought it was strange, the character Maverick. You think is that a Top Gun 2 tie-in?
Yeah, I think so. There was the character Cocktail showed up.
Yeah.
And the character Risky Business.
There's 2 O's in Goose.
Nice. One other thing. I feel like Maverick's one of those characters that is big Marvel trading card energy. Like, I haven't seen him since the X-Men trading cards.
Wow.
And I back then I was like, this guy's cool. This guy's like sort of a rip-off of Grifter, even though Maverick probably came first. But still cool. And then no actual character associated with that tiny rectangle that I collected for so long.
Next up, Superman.
Worth it.
Son of Kal-El, number 12 from DC Comics, written by Tom Taylor, art by Cian Torme. In this issue, the fight against the Rising continues as, I was about to say Kal-El, John finds out some secrets, clashes with Lex Luthor, and there's a big revelation at the end here. This book continues to be great, I think.
I agree. This is just really fun, very cool, interesting, and it's nice to see them being like, all right, this is a new take on Superman. How is he going to deal with these issues and what's going on? So interesting use of media in this kind of form like this to
camcorders.
Get the if you will. I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is great.
Crypto getting some action in this book.
Oh yeah.
I think it's funny that this new Superman is like, well, we got to get him a bald supervillain, Henry Bendix, and then they're like, you know what, I'll throw Luthor in there too. Let's have him face off against all the baldies.
You know what I mean? Luthor in.
Why not? But I agree with you, Alex. This book is so good. I feel like it's really on the sort of in the winner's circle now. Like it knows it's confident in its power. It knows its spot, and now it's just moving. The covers are so good. The stories have both the action we want, the heart, and this character in John Kent of like a Superman that is somehow even brighter and more like inspiring than even his dad. So it's great.
Great stuff. Next up, let's talk about a non-inspiring superhero in Radiant Black, number 15 from Image Comics, written by Kyle Higgins and Alex Siegel, art by Eduardo Ferragamo and Marcelo Costa. In this issue, Radiant Black finds out about a fan film that is being made about him and gets super pissed off about it and wants to become involved. Very fun issue that also has some big ramifications for what's going on in the title as a whole and leads up to a potential big supervillain team up. I had a lot of fun reading this issue, as I always do. My one bummer, and this is pulling back the curtain a little bit, this is pitting Radiant Black against Blaze, who I believe is a fictional superhero in the world of the book, basically like their version of a Superman type character. And midway through the book, there's a QR code that you could scan. And because we read it in advance, it's not working yet. So if you are listening to this by this point, it should be working. So hopefully there's something fun it links to. So check it out. I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping they actually made a fab film to this, but we'll see what happens.
Wow. Just going to bat for the QR code.
QR code.
Love a QR code. Miss Marvel. Show it off.
Yeah.
You can get a free Miss Marvel comic book. Moon Knight. You can get a free Moon Knight comic book.
If you love QR codes, you must love going to any restaurant, right?
Pretty much, man. Pretty much.
I like this Raid in Black as well. We talk about this as one of those rare books that sort of feels like they've made their Spider-Man and they're really building out the universe around the character. Except this Spider-Man can be sort of a dick. He's sort of a dicky Spider-Man, which... The fact that it's successful and we still root for him, I think, is really cool. And I really like the friendship. It would be so easy to play our two Radiant Blacks off of each other. The kid who lost his powers and was like really messed up because of it. But they're actually like still friends, and they're like working together in their different capacities. So that's really great.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. I think one of the great things about this book is the choices that it continues to make. They're very original choices, cool choices that take these characters that we've kind of seen before and do different things with them to make it feel unique and different. But yeah, it continues to be amazing art and really cool. This is kind of like the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back issue where, they find out people are, there's licensing issues and things are happening without their okay. So they got to get to the bottom of it. You know what I mean?
Hey, little update. The QR code is actually working now. It is, in fact, a 5.5 minute long animated short pitting Radiant Black versus Blaze. That is very
Look at Alex doing the due diligence.
Yeah, me and Justin will take it from here. We'll kill 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be back in 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Oh, I just thought you might have some other QR codes you wanted to scan randomly.
Oh, all over the place. It's crazy. None of them have been working up until now. But that's super fun. I'm glad they did that. One of my very stupid pet peeves is when you watch a TV show or a movie or something like that, and they're like, here's the website or the Instagram account. And then you go there and it's not working or it's some random dude or something like that.
Don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. You're like,
Yeah, and you keep your letters to your senator and Congress people are...
That's all. That's the biggest issue we have going on in America right now. Naomi, Season 2, Number 4 from DC Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker, art by Jamal Campbell. In this issue, it is all going down as Naomi finally reunites with her lost Thangarian and finds out some big secrets about herself, leading to a final battle that might, probably will change things forever, according to David F. Walker, who we had on the show a couple of months back. So what'd you guys think about this issue and everything that goes down here?
I mean, this continues to be great. I'm glad we're getting more and more with this character. This is really building. I'm enjoying the twists and turns it's taking. I love the action. Story's getting better. And the art is the real hero here. I mean, the great mix of different styles. It's really impressive.
Yeah, this has art. Speaking about the art, it reminds me a little bit of the great Green Lantern series that we were reading. We went to bat for so much by N.K. Jemisin. And I have been I didn't love the earlier Naomi stuff, but this season 2 book I have been loving. I think it's really good. I feel like it's got the character in less of a having to prove herself constantly, be like, I'm part of the Justice League. This is very much like a real story that's about her getting to the actual issues in her life, and I really like that.
Slumber, number 4 from Image Comics, written by Tyler Burton Smith, art by Vanessa Cardinale. In this issue, our main character thinks for a moment that she has found the nightmare creature she's been going after. Turns out there's a bunch of twists and turns here, and we're leading up to, I believe, the end of this miniseries or this arc. But I love this book. I love the creativity of this book. I love the sort of caustic nihilism that goes on here in terms of this character being like, none of this. This is all terrible. Everything's terrible.
Using the 10-cent words.
Great stuff. And Vanessa Cardinale's designs for all the characters are so much fun. I'm having a blast reading this book. Excuse me. What about you guys?
Reading about this book? Wait, what are you reading? What are you even reading, Alex?
A lot of supplementary material. I don't want to get into it. Go ahead.
Wow. I agree. I like this book a lot. I think the way it slips between the dream world and the regular world, and there's sort of action going on in both, is really fun. The character designs are cool. It reminds me of a little bit of some of the arcs of The Dreaming, the book that sort of was the spin-off that ran in Vertigo for many years. A spin-off of The Sandman that ran in as a Vertigo book for a long time. So I love that, and I think this is right in line with that.
I agree. The art is unbelievable here. It's bananas good. I mean, the character designs, the paneling, the storytelling with the art is just fantastic. I mean, you don't feel that last page reveal if it's not the art that kind of grabs you there. So yeah, it's creepy in all the right ways and creative in all the right ways, and this story's kind of grabbed you and doesn't let you go. So it's a heck of a ride.
Wonder Woman 788 from DC Comics, written by Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad and Jordi Belair, art by Manuela Lupacchino and Paulina Ganeschow. In this issue, the League of Villainy is taking on Wonder Woman directly, and in the backup story, Wonder Woman is sneaking out of her house to party, and it doesn't go particularly well.
Oh, yeah.
This is great. This is so much fun. I liked parts of the Trial of the Amazon story, but I'm so glad we're back to this thing with Dr. Sisko. The satire that they're doing in terms of men's rights movements and everything is so precise and so good.
The Milkmen?
Oh my God.
It's great.
Love it. So good. So darkly funny. I'm very impressed with this book.
I agree completely, especially what you said about the Trial of the Amazons and moving back into this. And I think it's a testament to everyone who works on this book right now that this does feel like Wonder Woman status quo. And the book hasn't been running that long with all of these characters. You know, it started with the where Wonder Woman died and went through all the different mythological eras. But ever since Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad took over, like, I've just been loving the way they were like, let's get a little bit out of the normal Wonder Woman comfort zone, establish that as a status quo, and just start there and tell interesting stories. And I think that's really working for me.
Yeah, I'm having a great time with this as well. The only thing that is bugging me is just like, I want them to deal with Dr. Psycho already. Like the fact that like they keep just kind of showing him, and I don't think he's that like all powerful. So I really want him to be taken down a peg or two. But other than that, other than being frustrated with the villain still winning,
that makes sense because villains are bad.
Yeah,
frustrating.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
It's famously bad.
Yeah, I mean, Pip knows what I'm talking about. But I just think it's one of those things where it's the art's great and everything else that's happening is a ton of fun. So they are killing it.
8 Billion Genies, #2 from Image Comics, written by Charles Soule, art by Ryan Brown. This issue, we're dealing with the ramifications of 8 billion genies joining 8 billion people and giving each of them a wish. We find out a lot more about the rules in this issue of how the world is going to work going forward, as well as getting to see a bunch more wishes. I think we all dug the first issue of this book. What'd you think about the second?
Yeah, this is really cool. We're getting to know a little bit more about the bartender who did the smartest move ever early on. And I'm glad that the people in the comic are smart enough to be like, hey, how the fuck did you know to do that? So like, I'm glad that they're kind of on the reader's side a little bit, but this is very creative and really intense and over the top. But man, the art is phenomenal. And this is such an interesting, cool story. And I even love the populations that we get at the beginning of each issue. This is fun and continues to be.
Pete, you strike me as the kind of guy who, like the bartender in the book, wakes up and says, I don't want anybody's wishes affecting where I live, all right?
That's right, yeah.
Shut them down.
You fucking keep your wishes outside my bar.
I agree. This book is really fun. It feels like, I mean, the premise is so big and precise, and I feel like Charles Soule is like meticulous. I mean, his background, if you don't know, he's a lawyer for many years. He has that meticulous nature, and he blends it in with his storytelling. And you can tell that he has thought this out to the nth degree and is really ready to and excited to play it out. I have a theory I want to throw at you guys. Like you said, Pete, this bartender, as soon as the genies appeared, was like, I don't want wishes to affect this bar.
Right.
Do you think this has happened before and he's been through this before?
It almost seems like it.
Because let me throw this out to you. What if this has happened and his wish, he saved his wish, and after all, whatever trauma and horrible things happened to the earth, he was like, I wish none of this happened. I wish we could go back to the moment this happened and live again.
Yeah, I
like
wish
that.
we could do that over
That's
again.
pretty good.
Do this all over again. Very interesting. But I just want to talk to you guys about the genies. Like, how creepy are they? And the fact that they're like really sparse with the information. You got to use a wish to find out their evil plan.
Ryan Brown's art on the genies, though, and his design, so much fun. I love the design, how each genie is their own particular thing. They're almost like, I don't know, sprites in a video game or something like that. Very, very fun. Really enjoyed that. I also wanted to give a shout out to the president here is the president from Letter 44, which is another book that Charles Soule wrote that also, I think, turned up in curse words that Charles Soule and Ryan Brown did before, though I'm not 100% sure. So,
Easter eggs.
Yeah, very fun little Easter egg there. But great book. I'm very excited to see where this is going to go.
Would you rather these genies, you're scared of the genies, you just wish they were the genie from Aladdin?
Well, I just, the genie from Aladdin's hoping you're going to let him free at the end. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that deal, but I don't understand what they're getting out of this, and them saying, like, it's fun to watch you guys fuck up.
Well, that's really the whole thing, is they're like, we're not going to tell you while we're doing this yet.
Yeah, we just like to watch. It's like,
so that's a secret coming down the road. Very fun.
That's fun. Pete, and when you say the genie from Aladdin, you, of course, mean Will Smith.
Nope.
Ha! That's Will Smith's.
Robin Williams, baby clone. Rest in peace, baby.
Hey, hello, what do you want to do for a wish? Huh?
Ooh, Jimmy Carter. Ooh.
Hey, 2-term. Okay, that's your wish. Bye.
The Jurassic League #2 from DC Comics, written by Juan Gedeon and Daniel Warren Johnson, art by Juan Gedeon. This is following the formation of a bunch of dinosaurs who have the power of the Justice League, fighting a bunch of villains who are also dinosaurs but have the powers of the DC villains. So lots of wild stuff going on here. Pete, take it away.
Hell to the motherfucking this comic rocks. I mean, come on. That last page. Oh man. Just really so much fun. I was kind of like a little bit worried about like all the intros we were getting from all the different characters, but then when it came to Wonder Dawn come flying in on an invisible pterodactyl, I was all fucking in, and I cannot wait for more. This is just so much bananas fun.
Would you say it's worth it for the dinosaurs alone?
Yeah, it's worth for the dino nuggets, all the dino nuggets you can eat.
The Artosaurus alone. I feel like this book, while I love its current form, should really, if you want to enjoy it, should be doodled in an earth science textbook.
Oh, come on,
by someone who's not enjoying their class.
Don't try to take this.
It's not cheating on it at all. That's not a shit. I'm saying this is like one of those, like, I don't care what I'm doing. Let me just like have some freewheeling fun with stuff I like dinos and superheroes.
This book.
Wait. This is one of my favorite Superman of all time here. I love
all time.
Superman. Yeah.
Wow. The dinosaur Superman?
Yes.
Supermanolodon or whatever he is?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Pete. I'm going to hold you to that.
Good.
Let me just say one other thing.
Yeah. I was just going to back you up, Justin, that this book feels like play. Like they're playing around. Yeah. It's very fun in terms of that. Everything is on this line of, when they mention a character's name, I'm like, is this Captain Carrot? Like, is this Captain Carrot style? Is that what we're doing here? It's like Peter Porker. And it's kind of like that, but also more serious and more... Serious. It's more awesome because of Juan Gedeon's art and the way that he's doing it. It's very fun.
Yeah, if you're not reading this, the art is really cool. And you know what? It took me a minute to think of it, but it reminded me of the Max, Sam Keith's The Max from back in the day. Especially the beginning was very in that style. A little more fun and like fighty than the Max, but it's very cool.
Last but not least, let's move to our request for the week. Again, this is from Jollyman444, who wanted to know whether he's crazy or thinks this is truly a hidden gem. And we're talking about Batman Universe from DC Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis, art by Nick Darrington. This is a collection of the books that were released previously at Walmart. So what do you guys think? Is he crazy or... No, he's not crazy. Pete.
Not crazy.
Take it away.
I think this was a lot of fun. I was impressed with the character moments that we got in this. It was fun to see Green Arrow interact with Batman, and then Green Lantern, and then Nightwing, and Alfred, for that matter. We got inside Batman's head a lot. It was really cool. I mean, I felt like the Batman had itself a sense of humor a little bit more than normal, but I was having too much fun to care. And also Jonah Hex was a little bit more humorous and topical than he normally is with his asking for a friend joke, but whatever. I think this had amazing art, epic panels. The fighting sequence through the submarine panels was amazing. There were epic smash pages. And unbelievable last panel that, I mean, just, it was, it was kind of Bendis-y at times, but I thought it moved really well.
Real quick, just to give an idea of the plot. So this is Batman is solving a mystery involving the Riddler that continues blowing out further and further as he goes. Ultimately, he ends up traveling through time and, apropos of the title, the universe, as he solves the mystery and comes to the end here. Justin, what did you think of this one?
I also like this, and it's funny to me. I had to check the date on when this came out, 2019, because this feels more like classic Bendis, like back like 10 years or so, when it felt like he was having a little bit more fun with his comic book work and letting the characters just play. Like, it feels a bit effortless. It reminds me also of Darwin Cook's work, not just the art, but also the writing. Because it's a Batman who does have a sense of humor, who's like, this is ridiculous when he's fighting a bunch of stuntmen, when Green Arrow's showing up and all this stuff is happening. Like, and it happens fast. It happens.
Batman loves dinosaurs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one in his cave, and it was not easy to bring it into. You ever move something into a cave? Got to make sure it fits in the mouth.
I want to throw out a couple of theories at you guys, because I agree with you. I thought this was really great. I was very glad to read this. This was a lot of fun.
And I don't think any of us had read this before.
No, right? Absolutely not. We missed Tom King's book. He wrote a Superman story that was in these Walmart books as well. And I don't know. There's not a Walmart near me, so I don't have a particular reason to pick it up or anything like that.
I live in a Walmart.
I think part of the reason, at least this story works, is one, because of the page count. So it's not Bendis necessarily filling out like 20 pages of something. The chapters definitely seem shorter. I don't know if they're 8 pages, 12 pages, 14 pages, but they're definitely shorter than the regular 20 to 22 pages of a comic book. So I think that's part of it. But also, I think the prospectus here was going for a Walmart audience, people who were not like, I'm going for the overall continuity of the DC universe, and I'm trying to write towards Dark Crisis and the big stuff that's going on with Young Justice and all of these other things. So much as like, oh, what is this? This is a magazine about Superman? I'll pick that up. You know, I think that's the idea there. And in this case, it works because he's just doing like, what's cool about the DC universe? Batman having a Western adventure with Green Lantern. That's fun. And that's all that we get here. And it ends up honestly being better than a lot of the stuff that he's done in the main DC universe, frankly.
Agreed.
Like, wait. We got to talk about this. You said you lived in a Walmart and somehow you missed a Walmart exclusive Batman book. Like, how the fuck were you just in Home Goods the whole time? How the fuck did you miss that?
Sorry, Alex did the right thing by ignoring that I said that. B, I did live in Home Goods, and there's a lot of stuff to get through there. I had to plug in all the
that's why I brought it up.
From the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. It's like that, but instead of the Museum of Modern Art, it's on Walmart.
Wow. Same thing in my mind.
And that's our
Museum
Universe.
of Modern Art.
Yeah,
no, I mean we covered the book. I think the book is more of the work that I think we want Bendis to be doing. A, B, it's a Batman that I'm ready to see more of in the mainstream DC universe.
Yes. So thank you for the suggestion. You're not crazy. We appreciate it. If you'd like to make your own,
or we're all crazy.
Possibly.
Fuck.
Leave a rating and a comment over on Apple Podcasts, and we will get to them. We have a couple stacking up, but we love to get your suggestions. It's been so much fun to read these so far. And if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/comicbookclub. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Crowdcast YouTube. Come hang out. We'd love to chat with you about comic books. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter, comicbookclublive.com. For this podcast and many more, until next time, we'll see you at the comic book shop.
Pete, stay at your desk for a change.
Never.